Hi everyone, we're just going to have another look at our book Teacher's Dead by Benjamin Zephaniah. Last time we read chapters 1 and 2. Today we're going to read chapters 3. So we'll just have a little quick reminder of what we already know. We already know that two boys have murdered Mr. Joseph, the teacher. One of our characters, or our protagonist, who is our main character, is Jackson Jones, who witnessed it, and he's the narrator, if you like. So chapter 3, boy A and boy B. I was expecting something like an interrogation. Maybe television is to blame again, but I really thought that after witnessing a murder, I would be subjected to hours of heavy questioning in a dark room. But all I did that day in the hall was ask me what I saw, and all I did was tell them what I saw. After speaking to pupils, I learned that it was the same for all the witnesses. Then that thing happened. That thing when a group of people watch the same incident but see different things. Apparently it's because of the shock and the stress and the excitement, if you can call it that. We were also offered counselling, but no one accepted the offer, or no one admitted to it. Even though we were warned that the effects of what we'd all witnessed may not be felt until much later. There was lots of crying, especially from the girls. Some boys too, but mainly girls. To be really honest, I felt like crying, but I didn't. To be really honest, I shed a tear or two, but I was silent, and because I was silent, I don't think it can really be called crying. Whatever. Watching someone die is not easy. I don't care what kind of front people put up. I put up a front. I had to. I'm a boy. But deep down I was feeling it. It wasn't too bad when I was busy doing things, but it would get to me when I stopped, or when I was just about to sleep, or just after I woke up. But I never cried. Not really. Sometimes I would see the whole thing happening again in my mind. When that happened, I just told myself that this was the real world, and if this was the real world, I should be prepared to see more acts of violence, more deaths, and more destruction. After Lionel stabbed Mr. Joseph, he jogged to the park with Ramsey, put his shirt in a rubbish bin, cleaned the blood off the knife, and then he and Ramsey both lit cigarettes. When the police arrived, they were sitting on a park bench, puffing away and saying nothing. The police were surprised to see how relaxed the boys were. Lionel still had the knife in his hand. An officer took it, and without the slightest hint of resistance, they both walked to the police car, surrounded by officers. The newspapers picked up on this. Boy A and Boy B, as they were called, were being described as teen killers, blood brothers, and the unteachables. They were being compared to other young killers, and many so-called experts were coming up with hundreds of so-called character profiles. Radio phone-in programs are swamped with people calling in with their opinions. Most of the callers were falling into two camps. Some were complaining that it was the fault of television, and that if we kept allowing our children to get out of control, we would end up like America. Others were saying that the only way to stop them is to execute them, like they do in America. The school was closed down for a week, and every day more and more flowers were being placed on the railings. The Queen sent a message and spelled the school name wrong. The Prime Minister sent us a message saying how proud he was of the way we all handled a great time of difficulty. But a month before, he'd been on television calling us a failed school and threatening to close us down or send in a superhead. Suddenly kids who hated writing started to write short poems and place them with flowers. A policewoman was given the job of making sure that all of those who came to pay their respects were able to, and that all the flowers were properly placed and could be seen. Lionel and Ramsey were taken to court the day after the killing and remanded in youth custody. The court ordered that reports were made ready for the hearing. The media made a big deal out of the fact that both boys were accompanied only by their mothers. Fatherless killers, one newspaper called them. I wasn't going to judge them for that. I'd never seen my father. I didn't even know who he was. But that didn't make me evil. I've been alive for 15 years and I never felt the need to kill someone, because I didn't have a dad. Back then I used to listen to a lot of music, mainly dance bands like the Chemical Brothers and hip-hop bands like Positive Negatives. I used to go for all types of British bands. Then all this happened. I kept listening to music, but I became more interested in the lyrics. I suppose I was looking for the meaning of life, but I soon realised I wasn't going to find that out from a singer who was a spotty teenager like me. I also started looking a lot. I mean, really looking. I would stare at people and wonder if they were capable of killing someone. I even started to look at myself in the mirror and asking the same question. Could I? Okay, so that's chapter 3. Tune in again for chapter 4.